What's up? What's up? What's up, y'all? Coming in, gathering, coming in. As we are going live on Facebook, we're going live on YouTube, and soon I also will be live on Instagram. So let me put everything ready. Okay. It's getting better, y'all. It's getting better by the day. I'm learning. So let's go live on Instagram. What's up, y'all? What's up, people? What's up, people? Wait up. You know what? One of these days, I'm gonna get it correctly. Oh, let me let me fix the lighting a little bit so that y'all can see me. Hold on, y'all. It's a live show. Let me see if the lighting is better. Yes, look, a lot better. At least I hope so. Let's see. Yes. So, as Instagram is summoning you all up to gather and to come to the floor, we're live on Facebook, we're live on YouTube. Listen, I'm getting the hang of this. I am getting the hang of this. Today, no filter. Adelante that. How y'all like it? I hope y'all like it. So we're gonna wait a couple of minutes before people start, drizzling in. If not, we are just going to start because we have got a show and I only have half an hour with you all, 30 minutes in total, and I want to keep it that way, right? Keep it that way. So I'm hoping that everything is going to go well with the YouTube and the Facebook streaming. It's very exciting. Um, it's just recently that I've been doing this. And it is a great way just to be streaming multiple ways on multiple platforms. So the last couple of days haven't been times, not days, but the last couple of times were a little bit shaky. But I'm getting the hang of it. I'm not the type to just, give up and let it go. As soon as I get a hang of something, I want to keep on, just going and make it better and just get better at it. So we are getting better and better at it. Listen, we're going to start. We're going to start the show, okay? If you're joining in, you're joining in. If you're not joining, you're joining out. I know that's not correct English, but you ain't joining in. You can watch later. So, another Instagram Live, another art talk. My name is Marilfa. I'm a contemporary artist, and I am also the owner of MCJ Studio. If you have been on this platform before on Instagram, you probably already have seen a lot of work of me. Go to my feed. You will get an instant view of what it is that I create and what my focus is. I specifically paint portraits, people from the Afro and Afro Caribbean diaspora in the Western world. And I consider myself to be a contemporary artist. That means that I look through the contemporary time, what is happening right now in this particular moment. And there can be many subjects that I talk about on campus that I explore, analyze, sometimes struggle with. In other moments, it's a beautiful love story that I try to create on the campus. So it kind of depends on in what kind of mood I am, where the moon is standing, whether I had some food in my belly, you know, whether there is a good vibe around me or not. All of those influences will create whatever it is that I have in my studio. In my studio. Which, by the way, I still have to remind myself I should set a date for like a small studio tour. That is exactly what you're going to get, a small studio tour, because it's a small studio. Get it? Small studio store. Don't like it? Okay, try it. But anyway, I think it would be great to have a studio tour where you get to see everything standing, what it is that I do, how I get my inspiration, just the nitty gritty of what I do. But if you don't want to wait for that particular day, and I can imagine that, you can also go to my YouTube channel. My YouTube channel is basically a artist diary, diving into the mind of an artist. And there you get to see everything that's happening behind the scene, how I get inspired, where I go, a little bit of my lifestyle and lifestyle in general, and a lot of everything else that has to do with art. It is a real, authentic, and sometimes raw way of discussing what is going on as an artist. And it's not just juices and berries, okay? It's not all gold that glitters, but it's very fulfilling, it's very rewarding. And of course, there are goals to be met, at least for me. So that is the reason why I've created the YouTube channel. Where you get to see everything behind the scene. Wait a minute, y'all, because I'm sniffing and oh gosh, during the live. Oh, give me a second, you guys. Give me a second to get myself together, because that is not a look. Absolutely not. This autumn is not giving. There I am, presentable. I mean, I don't want snot coming, TMI, but I don't want snot coming out. For those who do not know what TMI is, too much information. It's too much information. I want to keep it cute. I want to keep it cute and decent. So yeah, YouTube channel. We are almost at 100 subscribers. I say we. It's my channel, but I say we because we are a community. So almost at 100 subscribers. 92 subscribers already. Listen, come close. Come closer. Go to the YouTube and subscribe. Okay, go to the YouTube. We are 8 subscribers, 8 people away from getting to 100 people on the YouTube. That should be possible, right? It should be possible for those who are already following me or those who are interested and are like, wait a minute, I've seen her content before. I really like it. Let me go over to the YouTube. Yeah, you do that. Go over to the YouTube and let's get to 100 subscribers. Okay, let's grow this community all the way out as far as we possibly can. And start watching the videos, start liking the videos, commenting. When you like the videos, you're pushing it even further into YouTube world. That's the purpose of liking and commenting on social media posts. You push everything further into the atmosphere. More people get to see it. More content is being created. More content is being pushed out of it. So it's not just for me, it's definitely also for other people to see someone that resembles them, someone who looks like them, someone who speaks like them. and is doing something that can be very interesting to them as well. So go to the YouTube platform. Let's get it to 100 people. Come on, move something. Okay. So today's topic, where can I find the good stuff? Where can I find the good stuff? You know, when you have this colleague or this family member or this friend, and they know that you are into art, you know, you got a couple of artworks in your home or maybe in your business space, and they are like, hey, I heard you were into the arts. How does that work? Wait, where do you get it? Where do you go to? Where do you get it? Where do you get it? And maybe you're that person. I'm imitating you right now. You're that person. And it's not a strange question to ask because we are getting into the culture more and more, and culture is getting so diverse. I am so happy for this particular movement of culture being diverse, authentic, in just so many different types of ways of how artists are expressing themselves these days. And what you also see is that artists are crossing over to other platforms. So, for instance, me, as I'm sitting here digitally talking to you all, it crosses over. It crosses over from places where I would normally stand in a gallery or stand in a museum or possibly in another art space where I would demonstrate and exhibit my art. It crosses different platforms, and that allows for people to also find new stuff. Why am I whispering? I don't know. It's a secret society, right? Because that is kind of how it feels and looks like. It almost feels like you're stepping into a secret society. People don't really want to say where they got it from. It's kind of difficult if you're not really into that, atmosphere, if you're not into that field, if you're not into that space, if you don't know who you should know. It's kind of hard. It's kind of difficult. Yeah, you really have to be into it. You really have to be, of a certain kind, a certain group, a certain status, etc., etc. Um, that is true, and that is just as well not true. It is true that there are, of course, the conventional ways of looking into spaces where they have artwork. And we are talking about, of course, art galleries, art dealers that have their own business spaces. And just have to see it as a space where artwork is being exhibited and where people can get the information to start that process of acquiring, of inducting themselves into the process of being an art collector or a starting novel artist, an art collector or art buyer. So that is actually the first step. That's the thing that comes first to mind. You go to an art gallery, you go to an art dealer, and these days we also can go online to buy our art. But in most cases, we want to go to a physical place. Normal. We want to go to a physical place. We want to see, sense, hear somebody speak about it. We want to hear that they have the knowledge, they have authority of whatever it is that needs to be known about an artist, about a certain artwork. How does it work? What is the process? Um, do I fit in this particular arena? Will I be accepted? Is it within my budget? All of those questions come into play. So you're thinking first art galleries and art dealers, business spaces where art is being demonstrated, where art is being exhibited, and art is being offered to those who are interested, affiliated, or want to expand their collection. Experienced art collectors. So it can be for people that are just stepping into it, and it's definitely for the people that are already in there. And that is also mostly the focus for a lot of art dealers and art collectors to segment that portion of their audience that is already familiar, that suits a certain theme and a subject that is prevalent in their business. And most of all, the preferences, the demographic, their likings of how they live their life. And if art is a substantial part of their life. Now, not for all people it is. Everybody has a different reason to buy art and be interested in it. But for most art dealers and art galleries, they're very selective of who they want to do business with, right? They spend a lot of time and a lot of money. It's a great investment to have a number of artists being represented in a space like that. And for those artists, it is very important to have someone who is, the moment that they step in, actually already looking open and kind of already warmed up to the process of acquiring something or wanting to know more about a particular artist. And galleries and art dealers are really looking for that specific audience, that specific person. It's like they can almost sniff it when you come in, right? Kind of judgmental, just a little bit. However, I kind of also use that same tactic. I'm not a art gallery, but I do use that same tactic. I use the same tactic when it comes to my audience. If they want to know more about my art, if they want to know the good stuff, I kind of look at them in that way as well. Because one, like I already said, I have a specific topic that I paint, that I talk about, that I depict on my canvas. My art practice is very focused on a particular part of the demographic, and it is not for everyone. So even though there can be someone who's very enthusiastic about it and they heard about it, if we are not really a match, if you're just looking for something who's very trendy, we first have to see if you're really a match. I won't say no right away, but I do, like any other art gallery or art dealer, I do have my standard. I do have a couple of rules. I need to see if we are really a match in order to make it happen, in order to offer you the good stuff, right? So you have art galleries, you have art dealers, and the next arena where we come into is basically the people that we already know. People that we already know, our friends, our co-workers, our colleagues, that little skit that I did in the beginning, your colleague or your family member or a friend of yours is coming to you, or you, that person, is going to someone else who already acquired some art, and you would like to know where they get it, right? Because you have seen pictures, maybe you heard them talk about it, they describe it so vibrantly and very animated, and you're like, oh, I want to know that too. Where you get it from? Where do you go? Where do you go? And the reason why that actually is not a wrong thing to do is because it gives us this sense of familiarity. If someone else who we know has already walked the walk and now can talk the talk, and they can show up for it, giving us proof, social proof basically, they had a good experience or maybe a bad experience, or from that bad experience they went to a good experience. They already know what the lingo is, the jargons, the language, what is it that you say, how do we speak in this particular arena. um, Actually, anything that you need to know from your surroundings, people that are closest to you. It gives us a sense of familiarity. It is also a point of reference. In other lives that I've spoken about art, I speak a lot about culture. Culture is a very interesting thing because culture kind of forms us, or predominantly forms us, in the people that we are. Institutions, organizations, where you eat, where your parents have lived, the language that you speak and are now speaking right now at this particular moment, the food that you like, the colors, the music that you listen to, whether you go to museums or you go to a concert, what type of concert, how you choose and pick the people around you, culture. It very much shapes and forms our taste in many things, and so as well in art. So when we have the people around us that we use as a reference point, we also use it as a reference point of Oh, if this person already knows about it, if this person already heard about it, this person already been through this passage, then that's a good point of reference. People will use that in day-to-day life. And it can go from artwork all the way to buying some earrings or some makeup or whatever it might be. We do that in many areas in our life. So that's not really that weird to do that. And I really want to encourage you as well to ask around. If you're right now in this arena where you're showing this interest of getting something, acquiring something, um, opening yourself up to the process where you're being inducted into the art world, it might be good to start, small. Ask people around you. How did they get to the art? Where did they buy it? Did they have the budget for it? How did they establish a budget for it? How did they establish their taste? How did they know what they liked? Right? Another reason for looking close and near us instead of going to art galleries and art dealers is basically we value their opinion, right? If you ask someone who has already done it, you value their opinion. You value basically what they have to say about art. Now, somewhere in the back of your mind, you already know like they are not an expert, right? Not really an expert. If you really want to have the expertise, you would go to an art dealer or an art gallery because they, in most cases, represent the artist. Nevertheless, it is a good way to see where your reference point is, the value of opinion. We value that. We find comfort in that. It's just human nature. We find comfort in that. So those are like two elements where I talked about. You can go towards an art gallery, you can go towards an art dealer, or you can go towards your own environment, right? Your own close environment. It's comfortable, it's familiar, and it doesn't create too many obstacles, right? It doesn't create too many obstacles. You will find a little bit more obstacles when you go to art galleries and art dealers than you will find in your own tribe, in your own surroundings. But there's also a middle passage, right? There's a middle passage. We forget a certain step in this. At least I believe that. I believe that we are not looking at a certain step. That is very, very important. It can actually pivot you into your own journey when it comes to finding that piece of art, the good stuff, the good stuff. And that is that gray area between going to an art dealership or going to an art gallery and looking into the familiar places that you already know. That's that area of the unknown. The unknown area is the area where you're at the border. You're looking over the border, and it's like, I don't know about that. I see something in the distance, but it looks interesting, and I want to know more about it. But how, when? And I do believe that for people can be a huge factor when it comes to exploring their options. Exploring your options basically means you got to go beyond the things you already know. Because how do you know what you don't know unless you explore it? Unless you raise your awareness, unless you raise and just broaden the perspective of what is out there. And fortunately enough, artists like myself are here on many platforms where they can actually demonstrate and show you what is out there. But more importantly for me is that it's also like a next step um, in your own journey where you get to say, well, you know what? I actually got to do it. I got to ask around. I got to look around. I got to ask the questions, right? So, do you want to expand your horizon in that? If you want to look for the good stuff, are you expanding your horizons? I'm going to check for the time. I got 4 minutes. Dang, I was talking a little bit too much in the beginning. But anyway, the question that you can ask yourself when you want to look for new art, right? New art, the good stuff. Where is the good stuff? Where can I find things that I am interested in? Is exactly that. Ask yourself, do you want to broaden your horizon, or are you actually very comfortable where you are? Because if you're comfortable where you are, there is really no need for you to go out and look for new things. But I'm going to guess for the people that are watching right now or the people that are going to watch later, you are interested in broadening your horizon, um, in looking into methods that you can use to set up a plan of discovering new art, or else you wouldn't be looking at it. This, this is it. It is this, or else you wouldn't be looking at it. So, do you want to expand your horizon? Right? Are you open to discover those methods of how you can get to know new art? What is the language when it comes to that? What are the steps that you need to take to that? How can you prepare yourself for that? Are you ready for that? Can you open yourself up to that? That can bring you a step closer into finding the good stuff. Good stuff. It's going to bring you a lot closer to that, right? Are you also willing to view things from a different perspective? Are you willing to look from a different point and say, okay, so my friends and my family have this. When I walk in the city, let's say you're in Amsterdam or you're in New York or you're in The Hague or Rotterdam or you're in Brussels or you're in Paris, Madrid, Oslo, London, are you finding things that resemble the perspective that you would like to see for yourself? How you stand into the world, what attracts you, not necessarily what other people find attractive, but what attracts you. Are you ready to explore that? Are you ready to go into another perspective, into that? So that means there's a little bit of work that you have to do in that. There are great ways of getting into that. One of the ways is, of course, the internet. You're on the internet, you're here right now. There are so many options in that where people are showcasing their work. And again, not every artist feels the need to showcase their work completely on the internet. So do not feel frustrated or do not feel a certain way when you're like, well, I don't see all the options, because not all options are offered on the internet. Even on my website, I don't offer all my work on there. I don't i don't So not every artist feels obliged to do that, but it's a good way, excuse me, it is a good way to expand your horizon. Have you looked into different types of art streams? Right, you have contemporary art, impressionism, you have abstract art, etc., pop art, etc., 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 etc. Are you more comfortable with what is trendy, or are you willing to go against the grain? The people that are willing to go against the grain, the people that are willing to look into the story of a certain painting, of an artist, will come to places and to people and artists that are very interesting. You will come to places where you would never actually thought of looking, right? Another way is art visits, art studio visits. Plenty of artists that will open up their studio for the audience to come by, to visit, to talk, to have viewings, and really build that physical community where people get to talk with each other and also get introduced to who is building and also adding into the community, into the culture of the community. Great ways of doing that. Digitally, that's also possible to do so. Like I said in the beginning, talking about an art studio, like a digital art studio tour. And it's a great way to get acquainted. You don't have to make a decision at all. Eventually, the purpose is what is out there, what attracts me, what is attractive to me, and what new is there for me to see. right? And you won't find new things in familiar spaces. You will find the new things when you go beyond those spaces, when you go beyond the borders. So here's the thing. I'm almost at the end. Let me see. Am I at the end? Girl, boy, I'm at the end. Already 30 minutes. So at the end of this live show, I've talked about a couple of things, right? The familiar way, the conventional way of getting to new art, also the more comfortable, familiar way of getting to new art through people, which is also a great way, you know. You would be surprised how many people know someone who creates art. And when you get to those people, you might find someone who really has the same taste as you and with whom you really connect with. You will be very surprised about stories like that. But since you're on this platform and probably watching this live, I'm guessing that you're already interested maybe into knowing what it is that I have and the methods that I present and I have in my roster when it comes to the new art that I produce, but also maybe methods that you can use on a day-to-day basis. Doesn't necessarily have to be me, it can be anyone else. It can be anyone else. And for that, I've created a small survey in the link in the bio. When you go to my profile, there's a link. It starts with Linktree and then yada yada yada. Not exactly that, but almost that way. You click on the link tree and you will come to a selection of all links. Now, on the second link, you will find a survey because what I would like to offer is new group, a group talk where I go more into detail of how you can use these ways and how they really can benefit you in making that induction into a new artwork or a new piece of art, or maybe adding something to your collection, or getting to know the perspective of a new artist. How do you do that? I'm going to give a group talk one time, only 10 spots, Monday, 7 p.m. CET Amsterdam time. So that is actually European time. 7 p.m., only 10 spots. Now, before you rush yourself over to the survey, I need to know if you are a match. Remember what I said in the beginning? I kind of do have standards. Kind of do have standards. So that means I'm just going to ask you 5 questions, only 5. I'm going to ask you 5 questions just to figure out if you're already familiar with what it is that you are seeing on my feed, what you see around you, and how you feel about being into a selected group where you will get more guidance and more information on that, practical information, and also guidance if necessary towards the next step. So, survey is already there in the link. Click on it. 5 questions. 5 questions. Answer those 5 questions, and eventually you will receive a follow up email where, if we are a match, if we match up, if we connect, you will get more information on that private group. It is a private group, 10 slots alone, only 10 slots. That's it. That's all I got. 10 people. I wanted to do 5, but I thought, let's do 10. Let's do 10. So 10 slots for people to enter into that private group. Again, you will get the nitty gritty of it. And it is basically a talk like this. A talk like this, but we just go a little bit deeper into the details. I'm going to answer the questions that I've just raised in this particular live. I'm going to go a little bit deeper into it. I said a couple of very generic, basic things, but those are just generic and basic things because what do you do then? How do you start the conversation? What questions do you ask yourself, and which questions are really relevant? What is new artwork? How do you approach the artist? How do you approach any other artist? So that would be like the group talk for Monday, 17th of October. Go to the link in the bio, click on that, and you can do the survey. 5 questions. If you were a match, I will see you Monday. I'll see you Monday. And then we will have a group talk about this. So, yeah, That's it. That is all. That's all I had to give. It's Friday, people. It's Friday. I don't know what you are going to do. I'm going to sit and take some rest. Then I have myself a good cup of tea. Stretch my feet because my weekend is already starting. I think it already started the Friday morning. You know that feeling when the weekend is just actually the weekend is tomorrow, but you know what? We're gonna start it right now. Well, there's where my head is right now. I already started it, so I'm gonna stretch out my feet, have some tea, and just chill out, zone out for tonight. I hope that you're gonna have a great night as well. Maybe going out in the streets. Be safe, people. Be safe. Take care of yourself and each other. I will see you in the next live. Have a very good weekend. See y'all. Bye bye.